But if you have half of your Democrats hitting Medicare for all and all Republicans hitting Medicare for all, you do not have a consistent message, and the average American citizens are going to say, wait a minute, half of Democrats don't want Medicare for all. They want this same bastardized insurance system, and all of the Republicans want it. That is interesting. You have to have a consistent message. We have got to get the message out and snuff the other part completely out. And the reason why is mixed messages do not win. Let me let you listen to how Andrew Yang talks about it. Andrew Yang supports Medicare for all, and Andrew Yang also supports a private healthcare system, but he does it in a smart way. In other words, he doesn't do it as some sort of a public option that can bastardize the system. Listen to Andrew Yang when Chuck Todd tried to put him on the spot.
Talk a little bit about the current debate happening inside the Democratic primary, and I think in some ways you have tried to have a little piece of every lane that there is that we in the media try to create. But let's talk about the specifics of Medicare for all. You're essentially for it, but you haven't talked about how you would pay for it. We know we're having a big debate about how Elizabeth Warren plans to pay for it. But let me ask this basic question. I had a congresswoman, Democratic congresswoman on. If we haven't fully implemented Obamacare, why should we rip it up and start over?
Certainly, I was a fan of the themes of Obamacare, but many Americans agree that it didn't go quite far enough in terms of coverage and allowing Americans to have access to high-quality, affordable care.
How do you know? It hasn't been fully implemented. That's always been my question. I've heard this critique before. We don't know. Medicaid has not been expanded in 50 states.
And there's a reason for that. So we need to create a path forward for Americans to have access to care. I would not get rid of private insurance. And to me, the pay for it argument is misplaced because we're already spending 18% of GDP, almost $4 trillion, in large part because the system is not designed to keep us strong and healthy. It's designed to make money for the private insurance companies and the device manufacturers and the drug companies.
Let me tell you what's important about that ending. Andrew Yang explains exactly the problem with private insurance. Andrew Yang is sort of a libertarian kind of a guy, but very progressive at the same time. He explains why we don't want private insurance as baseline support for the American citizens' healthcare. And you notice Chuck Todd, in defense of the plutocracy, we haven't really tested Obamacare yet. Where was that concern when Republicans were ripping Obamacare apart all these years, when they decided not to have the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care throughout the country? Where was the concern of the media then? They didn't care, right? Because at that point, it was held on by a thread. And just maybe, we would have killed the whole thing and gone back to laissez-faire again.